All right, so besides everything that is included in this kit, you are going to need a ruler and a pair of scissors. Those are going to come in handy for you. So let's go ahead and open up the kit. It has a to from sticker on the top, so if you wanted to just give it as a gift like this, you could, or you could mail it and put your address here, and there's there. So when you open it up, there is a thank you card from me to you for purchasing the kit. And I have 2 QR codes here. This one, if you scan, is going to give you a full set of color illustrated instructions. So every step of the way, I'm taking pictures, putting them in this download for you, and you can keep those in front of you while you're working on the kit and making your little owl and penguin. This one is, now if you're watching this, you already have the link to this video, but this one is for this video that you're watching right now. And it just basically takes you to my YouTube channel. So if you do need to get in touch with me, this is my website and this is my email address. Okay, so that's included. Make sure you scan those just to get the full value of your kit, especially the instructions. So then there is this cute little thank you for supporting my small business sticker. Let's just open this up and pull everything out here. And then once you open it, you will find some core wool. And then we have 6 colors of carded wool. You're going to have way more than enough here. Made sure that you have more than enough that you need to make one of each of these. So if you end up buying a little bit more core wool, you may be able to make 3 or 4 with these colors. So you have black, yellow, orange, white, tan, and brown. You have 2 finger guards, one for your thumb and one for your forefinger. As a beginner, I always found these very, very helpful. I don't really wear them too much anymore, but in the beginning, you're going to put them on the hand that you're not stabbing with. So they're going to go on this hand, and it will definitely save you a few pokes into your fingers for sure. So you're also going to have these needles. So in this kit, I wanted to make sure you had the full range of needles that you needed. So we have a 36, a 38, a 40, and a 42. As we use each needle, I'll explain exactly what the difference in gauges are for. But they are color-coded. Let me get them lined up for you. This is a 42. Okay, so the orange is the 36, the purple is the 38, the green is the 40, and then the yellow is the 42. This is also going to be in your downloadable instructions, so if you just download those, the color coding is there on a little chart for you, okay? So those are there, and you have a little dense foam pad to use. This is a beginner pad, but it's going to work perfectly fine for maybe your first even year of felting. And then I said the core wool already. So this is the contents of the kit. Let me get rid of this paper. Okay, and let's go ahead and open up our colors. I'm going to take these finger guards off for now. We're just going to open them up. The tan, the brown, and the yellow are going to be for the owl. So I'm going to put these to one side. That's going to be, those are so beautiful, and you have way more than enough. You'll see by the time we get to end, you're going to have so much left over. And then the black, the orange, and the white are for the penguin. You will also use a little bit of black in for the eyes on the owl as well. And the white. Okay, so there's our two colors. And then you have core wool. So I tried to make sure we gave you enough and a little bit extra of core wool. I pulled a 15-inch piece for you guys. And really 12 inches should be all that you need. So you may be even able to make like a third one out of this. We'll see. Okay. But I pulled a 15-inch piece and then I divided that in half. And so you're going to want to put one over here for your penguin and one for your owl. That's the contents of the kit right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. So to start, you're going to take your first piece of core wool and see, that's even longer than 15. So I really think you're only going to need about 12 right now, 12 inches. So go ahead and leave yourself 12 inches and just put this aside for extra in case you want to do another one. And then what you're going to do is go ahead and get your finger guards on. If you're a beginner, you really should use these finger guards. I don't use them any longer, but that's just because I've been doing this for a while. So they're very, very helpful for beginners because the two fingers that you're going to poke are going to be these two right here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just lay this out, and you're going to roll it up. And we're kind of making a ball. So after you get maybe a fourth of the way, I want you to take the two sides and just tuck them in. Okay, and then just keep rolling. I'm going to use the fingers that don't have the finger guards. And just tuck those sides in. And you want to do this pretty tight. So if you feel like you're not getting a tight roll right now, go ahead and start over. You want this to be a pretty tight, dense circle that we're rolling up here. Okay, and then at this point, you're not really going to be able to push too much to the center, and that's okay. Okay, so get it, hold it in your hands, and then let's lay it on the mat. And I like to put the fringe side up. And you're going to get your strongest needle, which is going to be the 36, the orange one. And then you're going to just start poking straight in and straight out. You don't want to twist your needle at any time during this project or any project. So we just want to start tacking down that fringe straight in and straight out. You don't have to go all the way through. As you'll see, I'm not hitting my mat. So a lot of times people in the beginning like to go all the way through and stab that mat. They think it's necessary. It is not. You just need the very tiny little tip of that needle to start penetrating this wool. So I'm just sort of right now tacking all the fringe with my orange needle, my 36. The reason we use the 36 for this part, and you can turn it and just keep going through the center. The reason we use the 36 for this part is because the 36 is the strongest needle. It's like the workhorse out of all 4 of these needles. And since it's so strong and the barbs are so large, it really helps to start condensing the wool, taking the air out of the wool, and making your shape. I'm turning and I'm stabbing, and I'm kind of focusing right now on the center and then on the end, poking towards the center. And still turning. And what I'll do is once I get all the way back to where I see my first stabs were, then I'm going to flip it around and I'll do the same thing on the other end as well. We're trying to make a circle. Okay, so now I'm going to start focusing on this end here, forming it into the circle. You can turn it on its end. You can squash it down, whatever you need to do just to get it to shape into the, we just want a little 1-inch ball basically. That's what we're working towards here. Okay, so at this point, you're just going to keep turning and shaping into a ball. So we're just going to keep going around and around, rotating. Anything that looks like it's not felted, just keep tacking that down. Never twist the needle, always turn the ball. So you want to take your needle out, turn, and then poke. Keep going. I'm just really trying to shape this ball. So at this point, you can squeeze it, roll it in your hands, really push it into a ball shape, kind of like clay almost. I can feel that it's a little lopsided on one side, so when you do this, you can really feel like where it's lopsided. So it's almost oblong right there. And a little oblong really on the birds is not a big deal. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. It's just kind of the cute, it makes it a little bit cuter. So if you kind of like it a little bit of an oval, that's fine too. This is your project, so you can do it however you want. Okay, so that's pretty good. So you're going to do the same thing with this one for the owl. So this one we're going to turn into the penguin, this one we're going to turn into the owl. So when we start the owl later, I'll already have that one made, so you don't have to see me do it twice, okay? So right now we're still working on the penguin. And what we're going to do is we're going to move away now from the 36. You're pretty much done with that one. And we're going to pick up the purple one, which is the 38. And you're gonna go back around the entire ball with the 38. So the 38, where the 36 was your workhorse, the 38 is more for defining and sculpting. It's considered a medium fine needle. And it really helps you like continue the shape that you had started creating with that 36. So it's just going to further our circle shape. It's also really good for applying like the top coat. So we'll probably use it for that as well, like for the colors. It's good to know what the needles are used for, because a lot of times when you get these beginner kits, you're not really sure. And so you just start using each needle for all different things. And it's hard to tell, like, what do we use what needle, you know, each needle for. So I just want to make sure that, you know, I explain that to you. And then in later projects, you can do the same thing. You always start with your 36, move to your 38, then to your 40, then to your 42. So we'll definitely practice that in this video. So I'm just kind of looking, I'm going around trying to see where it needs it. Maybe what I've missed. Trying to make sure I cover all the surfaces. Keeping my stabs close to each other, not super deep. This is a great little foam pad. Very squishy. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing now. We're just going to roll it in our hands and try to create that circle shape. Squish it. Now it should be pretty dense. You're not going to be able to flatten it completely. You're going to be able to get a little bit of a squish on there, but as you can see, like my finger is turning pink while I'm squishing it. So it's pretty dense already. It's pretty strong. And that's really good. That's perfect for what we're doing now. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to get your white. Now you will also be using a little bit of this white on the owl as well, and a little tiny bit of this black on the owl. But you're going to pull off, if you hold this up to it, you really only need enough for a belly. Okay, so we're just going to pull off a little piece, and as you can see here, it's probably like a 2-inch piece. So you just need about 2 inches. That might even be too much. And you're going to lay it kind of where you see the belly. And what we're going to do is, let's fold it. Let's kind of fold it up a little bit on this side, and the bottom, and leave some fringe up here. And then we're going to lay that right over the top of the ball. And take your needle and just start stabbing that. If you see a little bit of vegetable matter, don't worry about that. It can't be felted in, so it will come up to the surface, and then we can pull it off later. This is a good opportunity, or a good time, to have the gloves on. The little finger covers for the fine detail work. So I'm just rolling it and I'm stabbing it down. That's really all I'm doing right now. You can stab it all the way across. Any edges that don't look, you know, perfectly straight, that's okay, because we're going to be covering it up with the black. Kind of getting around that. Now, you want to be careful. Don't try to pull that out with the tip of your needle. You can kind of lift it a little bit and then pull it out with your fingers. So this is the vegetable matter. That happens in all wool. And basically what it is when they shear the sheep and then they clean the wool, there's always little pieces of, you know, grass and things like that that are just still in there. They can't get it all out. There's no way. Okay. So if you take a look now, we've got white from the bottom and it's going up, and we want to kind of get it up here to the middle of the top of the head. If we have too much, like I said, that's okay. Because it's going to get covered up with your black. You just want to get all of this down. Y'all are going to have so much extra wool and be able to make a lot of these for gifts or sell them at trade shows. I sell these for $10 each or 2 for $18, and they sell like hotcakes. All right, so it's just about down everywhere. Pretty good. So we're not going to refine it right now. We're going to go ahead and start with the black. And just go ahead and pull off, just use your fingers and kind of the palm of your hand. Close it on there and just pull off a good, that's about 3 inches right there. And you want to make sure you can see the difference between your core wool and your white. So right here, see how it's a little bit dingier? So we're working on the core wool side. And you're going to want to do the same thing. We're going to sort of fold the sides in, just the edges. Fold those edges in just to make them a little bit cleaner. Okay, and then you look at your core wool, figure out where you want your top to be. So I'm going to make the top here, lay it on there, and you can already kind of see, here's the belly, here's the top of the head and the back. Okay, so I'm going to lay it on there. I'm really not going to mess with the head right now. I'm just going to lay him on his belly, hold him down, and I want to start working on this back side here. Might be kind of hard to see black on black. Let me actually get off this pad so you can kind of see a little bit better. Black's always a hard color to see. So when we're felting down right now, I really am just trying to adhere it to the back. I just want to make it stick to the back. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to look and I'm going to see, so see how that's all stuck to the back right here? So I don't want to overstab. I want to just make sure that I have a big round belly. So let me come back onto the pad here and I'm going to fold some of it unfolded. So I'm just going to fold it back where it was. Get my 38 again, and I'm just going to start going around this shape to create an outline around the belly. Okay, turn it and just kind of fold it again. Now, if you feel like, you know, you've got a lot, way too much, you can always pull some off. I definitely have more than I need right there. And if you have to, you can always add it back in. So I'm just stabbing, getting that down. We'll come back and get these little fuzzy edges in a minute. So now you can kind of see how it's creating a black line all the way around. And I'm just going to keep going around this edge. Make sure I hold it with the right finger. And I'm just gonna try to cover, I see the core wool here. I wanna make sure I'm not coming too far in. So I'm just gonna come back up and kind of meet where I started there. Okay. So now I have a belly and I have a black back and bottom and a little bit on the head. So to finish, and I do have extra, and that's okay. Well, I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. But for the head, we're going to have like a little widow's peak. So we're going to have this little like triangle coming down right in the beginning here on the, in the middle of the head. So go ahead and pull with your needle just very gently, just tug it and poke in right there. And then this part, you're going to push it up kind of with your thumb and your forefinger, push that up, and you want that to go up here. You're going to stab that in up here. So we definitely want it to come down in the center and almost like an M. We're creating this little like widow's peak look. Anything that you see is like kind of a gap right there, we'll fill that in once we get the shapes here. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing here, just kind of push it up and then stab it in there where it's pushed up. So this is just creating our main shape, and then we'll get to the details in a moment here. So anything that looks like it's not quite even, just take your needle, go back around this edge, and you just want to keep pulling the wool sort of where your needle is going. So I just kind of stick it in the fuzz and drag it over. Okay, and now you can already see your penguin kind of forming. So now that this is all stuck down, you can take this excess, and you don't even have to, at this point, it's just such a little bit, you don't even have to rip it off or anything. You can just sort of move it over, if you have it, move it over with your fingers and kind of spread it over and let it come to the other side so it's even. Then if you have any more that is extra, you can pull that off. We just don't want him to be lopsided, so you want to try to even it out. Just use your fingers to do that. Just sort of pull it and pull it out, and then sort of fold it over to this other side here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue with my 38, my purple. And I'm gonna try to fill in all these little spots here that didn't quite get wool. And then I'm also going to tack down all this extra that we just pulled over. Now at this point, you don't want to make any stabs in your white belly, only on the black. And you're just gonna do what we did when we were forming the ball. You're just gonna kind of keep turning and stabbing until all of this is down and kind of even. This is still just forming our penguin shape. So here you can see I have a lot of fuzz right there. You can just sort of take your needle, push it up to where the rest of the black is, and pop that down. Like I said, we'll trim that up in a little bit with our finer needles, so you don't have to worry about that right now. If it's like really popping out there, you can definitely move it a little bit. Okay, and so anywhere I see like a little bit of white, I'm just gonna pop the black down. All right, so now you can sort of take a look at him, see what you've got. So that's looking pretty good. I've still got a little area here that's not really felted, so let me just keep working on that spot. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to stick with our 38. We're going to take some of this that we pulled off earlier. So this is, I would say if it's squished together, it's about 1.5 inches. But I mean, you just need a little pull, really is the main thing. So we're going to pull that, and then we're going to divide it in half. And then we're going to roll this up kind of like in a tube, like a little tube. So it's going to look like this. Just a little tube, nothing super fancy. And then you're going to lay it on your, let me see if I can get you something where you can see. I'm actually going to take some of this, and you wouldn't normally do this, but I'm going to take some of this paper from the box just so you can see what I'm doing, because black on black is impossible to see. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, you have it in your little cylinder, and then you're going to just start stabbing it. And this one, you are going to go a little bit into your mat, just a little bit. You don't want to really go crazy into your mat. You just want to stab it back and forth, up and down, just a little bit through it. And then take it. See how I did, you see the holes there? You can see, so it did go into the mat a little bit, but I'm not like smashing it into the mat. I'm just barely going through it here. And then if I lay it flat, it's a good reason to have these finger guards. If I lay it flat, I can start shaping it. This is going to be the little wing, by the way. So I can just start, you know, going at a 45-degree angle and just start shaping it into a little wing. Just come from all directions, all angles, and just Just stab, stab, stab. You don't have to do this part because this part's what we're going to use to actually attach it. Okay. And then turn it over. And remember, when you're doing this, you'll be doing it directly on your mat. You don't have to get the paper from the box, but if you want to and it makes it easier for you to see, by all means do it. It's not hurting it in any way whatsoever. If you don't have a kit right now and you want to purchase one, I will put a link up where you can go purchase this kit. You can get them on my website, which is www.morefunwithfelt.com. Purchase the kit and come back and follow along. It's lots of fun. Okay, so you can see, so the more we did that, it's just really starting to felt together really well. You can rub it in your fingers, between your thumb and your forefinger. That really helps because you have oils on your fingers that get in there and really continue that felting process. Plus the friction as well continues that felting process. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and leave that one here. It's a good shape. It's pretty dense. It needs to be refined a little bit with our finer needles, but for now we'll put that aside and let's do the same thing with this one. We're just gonna roll it up. And this one's a little bit long, so we can actually fold it over. Leave that fringe on that side, and let's start working on this side here. And then you can compare them and kind of see. So now you have two cute little wings. Super, super cute. All right. Yay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the orange and we're going to pull off a little pinch. That can fit in the 1 inch mark right there. And we're going to roll it just like we did the wings. Roll it up and then fold that over. And you're going to actually, now that it's folded over, I'm actually going to start that felting process between my thumb and my forefinger. This is going to be the beak. And I'm just going to keep rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. And this is felting. Like this friction is doing the same thing that the needles would do. Okay. Then it's really long. So I'm going to fold it over, hold it down. Now this is a great time to have that protection on your fingers. I normally do not. So I poke myself a lot. So this is still the 38. And I'm using this to shape the beak. And you'll see I'm going to focus a little more on this end that is supposed to be pointy. I'm going to try to get that pointy and then come down the rest of the beak. If you hold it down, you can go at a 45-degree angle. Make sure you're going into the wool and not into the mat when you're doing this, or you might felt it right into that foam. Okay, and then roll it in between your fingers again. And there's a little tiny tip right there. I'm just going to try to pop that in with my needle. If you see something like that, you can just try to refine it. And just keep doing it. We're trying to sort of make it go down a little bit, like make it a little thinner, and then also, you know, just do the felting process. And I think I'm going to double my mat over for this one so I can really get in here. You can double your mat over, and then again at a 45-degree angle, you're going to come from the end and go down right like this, down the beak. Don't worry about all this extra fiber at the end. Definitely going to take care of that in a minute. Okay. All right. You're just going to do this process as many times as you feel you need to get that little beak shape. So cute. I love when they start coming together. If you have a lot of excess here, you can just pull that off. If you don't feel comfortable pulling it off, you can clip some of it off. You just need a little bit of fuzz to get this on. You're not going to need all that extra fuzz. Okay, that's good. So you can take your scissors and just trim that little bit off that didn't felt in, and then just keep rolling it. It's pretty good little beak. That's what you want. Just want it to look like, you know, what does this look like? A little bullet. I don't know. Okay, so we have that. The next thing to do is to make the little feet. And so you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to pull off. This will be a little bit more this time. So that is about a 2-inch by 1-inch piece. And I am going to just divide that equally. And then we're going to fold it and fold it again. So I just folded it twice over. And I'm still in with my 38 here. Molding and shaping. 38 is really, really good for that. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and flatten this out. So I'm going at an angle. I am kind of stabbing through it into the mat a little bit. And I'm going at an angle, and I'm just trying to flatten this out and make like a little piece of fabric. So it's going to be a flat, just like a flat sheet, almost like a sheet of felt, only we're making it really tiny. Then you can use your finger right on the mat just to do what we did earlier and put some friction on it. Continue that felting process. Turn it over and do that again. And see how it's creating like a little sheet of fabric, almost like a little piece of felt. Okay, so we're gonna keep going at it. It needs to be a little bit thicker. And I really want to go at a 45-degree angle now. I don't want to be disrupting the bottom of this and making, you know, if you stab all the way through it, what happens is it pushes the fibers through the piece like this. See how I stabbed through it there, and you can see it coming through? Well, it makes it harder because then you have to come back over on this side and you have to felt it again. So if you go sideways and you're stabbing the fibers into the rest of the piece, the rest of the fibers, then there's not so much for you to actually have to go back and go over. Okay, so this, we're not even going to need that little piece. This created just enough. And it's a nice little shape, nice little, you can see kind of like a little line here that's almost curved. And that is perfect for the front of him. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to, if I look at where he is, where his little belly comes, right here, I'm just going to cut at an angle, and then right here. So we're going to start with that. Okay, so this fits on the bottom of him for his feet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move now to our 40, which is the green one. And I'm going to come in on the end of this, and I'm going to start felting it towards my finger. Please make sure you're wearing your guards for this. And then you can turn it. I just like to turn my whole mat instead of just turning the piece, but you can turn the piece as well. So I don't know if you've seen it. A couple of times I've hit my finger already. So that's why you really need to make sure you're wearing your finger guards, because this is a tiny little piece to work with. And you will move off of it and hit your finger. Okay, and I'm just, I did a little bit of an indent here, and I'm rounding these two out. And these are going to be the feet. I'm going to go down on it a little bit here. And then come back to the center. I might want to use my 38. My molding and sculpting is going to push that center in for me. We are still kind of in the sculpting process here. Maybe moved away from it a little too soon. Okay, and you just want to focus on the center part, making sure like you're coming straight in at it. Hold it down, and you're just kind of making a little dent, a little indent right there. So when I pull this up, it should be almost like the top of a heart. See how it's like the top of a heart? And this bottom part's going to be stuck to him. So this side's a little bit bigger, so we can just keep working that down. When you stab, you're going to always stab in the direction that you want your wool to shape, and it's going to go that way. So I want this side smaller, so I'm going to come to the end and stab it there, not go from the top, but I want it shaped this way, so I'm going to stab that way. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. And then again, the fine tuning. So see how he has the little feet now? How cute. Okay, so let's start assembling these guys, and then we will move to our, we'll go ahead and move to our finer needles after we assemble. So let's do the feet first since they're kind of sitting here already. So turn him on his head. Let these feet kind of hang over a little bit. And take your 38 and let's just, any of that excess fringe, just go in a line and sort of stab that down. So you're going in a line right across. So now you can kind of let go of it, make sure it's in the right place. And then you can go up and do a little bit more across the surface. You don't want to stab the very, very tip because you do want it to be like a little bit floppy. So they're not felted directly, you know, like felted right up to the belly. But all of this, you can just stab down. And by doing this, we're securing it. So these feet are not going to go anywhere now, unless you just ripped them off with all your strength. Okay, so there's like, when I look at it, there's a little white right there. So I'm just going to take my needle and I'm going to pop that white right in to the belly. This again is part of the refining. We're still in the sculpting mode here. Okay. And then anything here that looks a little bit wonky, you just want to touch it. Okay. All right. So the feet are on. Where you can see this line right here, you're going to take another little tiny piece of black. And put it right over that line. And take your needle and just stab right across to where that covers up that orange that looks kind of all over the place. Okay. A little bit of fray orange there, so I'm just gonna trim that off. Pull that out of the mat. All right, so his little feet are on. That's awesome. Let's put his little wings on. So all you're gonna do for the wings is you're just gonna kind of hold them to the side. Okay, you're gonna hold them to the side and then put them down. Again, this is black on black, so kind of hard for you to see. But I'm just going to take it and then all that extra fringe, I'm just going to stab it in. All right, so now still a little refining to do, you can see, but it's on there, so that's good. I'm going to take the other wing and we're going to line it up, put them down on the mat, and we're going to do the same thing. Just right across all that fuzz. You want the wings to kind of be floppy, so you don't want to put the whole wing down, just where that fuzz is, the extra fuzz. Okay, this will be easier to see when we do the owl wings. All right, now, before we put the beak on, now we're going to start to really refine. I am going to trim off some of this excess, like where you can see the white over the black and the black over the white. I'm just going to trim some of that off. And then the same thing on this orange part, because when I start refining, I don't want these colors like blending. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to start with my 40, which is the green. And let's just start at the bottom since we're here. And I'm just going to take my 40 and I'm just going to start little by little going over these, and this is the refining part. So this is where we're making it not so fuzzy, not so all over the place. Like we're sort of tacking everything in and making it hard and firm and smooth. We're going to start that process right now. So go down from the top of these into the feet and on the bottom. If you see like a black on a white, don't felt that in. Just take it off with your fingers. You don't want to, these colors, you don't want the black to felt into the white. You don't want a big piece of orange to felt into the white. You want to make sure that you're separating those colors. It's easier to do it before you stab than after, but it's always fixable after. If you accidentally do it, that's okay. You can always take it out. You can use a little seam ripper, or you can just use your fingers. Get in there and take it out. So I'm just turning him a little bit, and I'm taking this needle and I am just making sure that, you know, it's all felted down. This side still looks a little bit bigger. And I'm going to really emphasize that center part that we had moved in. You might even take your 38 again, now that we're really here, and it's adhered, and you can really emphasize that part, because this is the separation between the 2 feet. And we would really like to make sure that people can see that. See, now this is a stronger needle and it's going to do that job better. That's why we have the different gauges. Okay, now I'll move back to my 40. If you feel like you need more black down here, you can definitely add more black. You can always add if you need it. One's a little bit bigger. So this is bothering me. So this one's a little bit bigger than this one. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little tiny piece of orange, because I'm kind of OCD like that, and I'm gonna add that to the top of this, because I would really like the feet to be the same size. So that's how you would fix that if that same thing is happening to you on any of these that you make. Just, if it's not big enough, just add a little more and felt it in. You do not have to stick with the first part thing that you added and just leave it like that. If you're not happy with it, you can always take away, you can always add more. That's much better. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm going to trim it up again. And now I'm going to work on the black. Just stay where I was with where his little hiney's up in the air. I'm going to get any little white pieces out. And I'm just going to start, whoops, start going right over his hiney here and up his back. This is smoothing and refining. That is what the 40 does. I want my pieces, my stabs close to each other. You never really want to rush needle felting. It's not a fast, quick craft. You need to take your time if you really want it to look good. And those little white fibers really show up on this black. So I am going over where we attached that wing. I saw a little black there. I'm just going to make sure I don't poke it into the white. Going over where I attached the wing here, getting that white fiber that's flying around there off. And I'm just continuing around. A little vegetable matter there. And a little orange there. A lot of flyaways. Okay, so now I have gone pretty much over the black, except a little piece right here that I can see. It helps if you hold it like under the light and you can really see it better. So you see now you can have his little wings, little belly. Okay, I'm going to go over the white. Now, here, like if I see this orange is just flopping up here, I'm just going to take the very tip of my needle, just gently drag it down into the orange. I don't want to stab this into the white. And then same thing around the edge here. If you just take your needle and you set it on the line and you just very gently just pull and stab. Just very gently pull and stab. You're going to create a straight line. It's hard to do in the air, but you're gonna actually create a straight line. So that's what I'm gonna be doing around this edge. I'm like dragging my needle, pulling it gently, and stabbing. This is nothing hard or forceful. You always want to be very gentle with your needles. So once you get all the way around and you get all that black in completely around the belly, Then what you're going to do is you're just going to take this 40 and you're going to go all over the white and just smooth that white down. If there's any little black fibers, just pull them off. If there's any that are sticking out into the white, you can just go ahead and felt them towards the black at a 45-degree angle on the edges here. And you just want to cover all of this white surface, not leaving anything left unfelted. And this is just smoothing and refining. We want to do this before we get the beak on, because once we get the beak on, it's going to be harder just to go around it. But you also can do this again, you know, at the end, anywhere on the penguin that you want to. I just have this one little black that's wanting to pop out there. It's been doing that the whole time. I'm gonna try to get him back in. Okay, so if you can see, we have the white belly, black all the way around, the little wings. I know some of this was hard to see. It's going to be easier for you to see on the owl when we do the owl. So I'm sorry for that. The black on black is just difficult to see. So now you're going to pick up your beak and you're going to go ahead and hold it down. You're going to be about 1/4 of an inch from that widow's peak, and get your 38, and you're just going to go to the base of that beak and you're going to stab. Let me turn it this way so you can see. So you're going to go to the 38, to the base of with the 38 to the base of the beak and stab in. I don't want to stab all around here, because then I'm covering my white and then I'll have to recover it again. So I just want to, anything that's loose, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up with the tip of my needle, bring it up to the beak. And I'm going to stab at the base. Nowhere else on the face. You can stab through it. Just make sure when you're stabbing through it, you're going into the penguin and not outside the other side. Also, as you're stabbing through it, this is going to help continue to decrease the size of this beak and felt it down some more. So I'm alternating between the base and then taking, you know, going right from the center and going into the penguin through the beak. And I just want to do that all the way around. And again, I have my 38, so I'm shaping and forming. So I shortened it up quite a bit. I didn't like how long it was anyway, so shortened that up quite a bit. And then you can take your fingers and kind of shape it into more of a triangle. You can go to your 40 and just start at the tip there and keep shaping with the 40. And again, 40 is refining. Yep, and I'm just going to keep doing that, turning him and getting that into a good shape that I like. He's looking super cute. The last thing that we need is his little eyes. So to do this, you're just going to pull a tiny little bit. I mean, it's just barely a little pinch. And then I'm going to break that in half. Break that in half. And then I am going to roll it between my fingers. And again, start that felting process by rolling with the friction. I'm not even going to need that other piece. Get that out of here. You want to just roll till you get a pretty fine, almost like a little piece of thread. Okay, so now you're going to take your 42. I'm going to lay this on and kind of let it overlap the nose there, just so that you can get your thumb on it. You're going to take your 42 and we're going to just stab kind of right where the top of the eye would be. I need to hold it with my other finger. Oh, that's not even. Okay, take your 40. Let's do it with the 40. Take your 40 and go ahead and stab it where the top of the eye would be. And then you can kind of let go over here. And I'm going to take this side of it and I'm going to shape it into, it's like a rainbow shape. And I'm just going to stab where the eye should go. I'm not going to go all the way down the face. I'm just going to stab where the eye should go. And then stop at the end of that. All this little extra here, I can just poke in one spot at the very end and it'll just all come in. And then right here at the end of that eye, I'm gonna get my scissors, get really close to the face, and I'm gonna cut. Okay, looks like I got a little bit, maybe one stab too many there. So if something like that happens, just pull that off. And then go back with your needle and just tack it all down. Take your needle and do that drag technique around the eye just to make sure there's no loose fibers anywhere. And you have one little eye. Go ahead and repeat that same process on the other side. And it's the same shape. So we just need to start with that 40, hold it down and just tack it. And then I'm gonna try to hold both ends down. And then curve it. You can kind of let go and finish it up. Make sure it's curved and not straight. This kind of makes him look like he's either smiling really happy with his eyes closed or he's sleepy. It could be a couple of things. Yep, and there you have it. Cute little penguin. First one is finished. So what you can do after this is you can definitely see there's a lot of little fuzzies still. So what you're going to do after this, and I'm not going to do this all on camera for you, but you're just going to take your 42 now. That's your super fine needle, and you're just going to go over the entire thing. And you're smoothing the entire thing out. This is going to be the difference between, you know, what a new felter looks like versus somebody that's been doing it for a while, because a lot of new felters don't know that they're supposed to smooth it out like this. So go ahead and smooth it out. You're just going to go over everything, get all of those little fuzzies off. You're just going to keep doing it until you get it all smoothed out. And just keep turning it. You can already see the kind of the difference that flattened a little bit there. So this, as I'm doing this, it's flattening it, it's compacting it, and it's getting those fuzzies out. So you're just going to do that everywhere. Once you're done with that, go ahead and take your scissors and do just one final trim. Just for anything little fuzzy like that. And you have Peter the penguin. Yay. Okay, so for Ollie the owl, it's going to be exactly the same thing, except for him, his wings are going to be flat against his body, and his eyes we're actually going to do a little bit differently. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull 12 inches. And then I want you to make your ball like we made the ball for the penguin. And I will catch up with you in a sec. So now that you have your ball ready, take our white. We're going to go back to the white real quick. We want to cover the belly with the white. So that is what we're going to do first. We're going to fold in the sides like we did on the penguin. Put it right on the top. And let's take our 38 and we will just tack that down all the way around. And you just want to keep rolling him and just tacking as you get to the next section. So now I've gone all the way around, but I'm just going to come back to the front here and see the areas that I feel need to be popped down. And just tack those down. A little bit right there. Okay, so now we're going to go to the tan. And I'm just pulling off, it's about 3 by 1.5 right here. And do the same thing. We're just going to roll up the edge. Now you can roll it all the way around, or you could just roll one at a time. That's perfectly fine either way. I think probably if you're trying to control it all, one at a time is easier. And here's my edge where my white ended and my core starts. So we're going to go ahead and start there. And I just want to make sure that I'm covering that white. So I'm just going to hold it, place it down and hold it. And then take my 38 and just start. I want to go right up to the line. I'm going to refine that later, but right behind that line, I'm just going to start tacking this down. Turn it while not letting go. If you do let go, then you just need to make sure that you're still in the right place. And then we can fold this kind of this way over. And you can pull off the extra. Fold a little edge there. And then just pull this right back up, right up to where that white is. You do want to overlap it just a little bit. And I'm just going to want to work my way back up around to where I was before, where I stopped up there. If you have anything extra, you can either pull it and fan it across like we did on the penguin, or you can just go ahead and felt it down where it is in place. I'm going to go ahead and do that in this situation just so you can see both. So now I have a really good circle with a belly, and I'm just going to start going over it and just getting all of it tacked down. I think right now is a good time to move from my medium fine over to my 40 and start refining and just tacking that down with that 40. Any vegetable matter that you see, you can just literally felt right over it. It's not going to felt in, so you will, once it surfaces to the top, you'll be able to pull it out. If it's not surfacing yet, don't worry about it. Just keep felting over it, and eventually it will. Just because it's not a feltable material, so it's always going to surface. So you can kind of see now as we're doing this, how it's starting to smooth out. That's what we want, a nice smooth surface. Making sure everything's balanced and it's not like too lumpy on one side than the other. Yeah, so that's looking really, really good. I just think naturally this is going to be my bottom, this is going to be my top. And if we need to add anything else, like a little widow's peak here, we definitely can do that. We can always come back and do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and while I'm here with this needle, go ahead and go over the belly as well. All right, so now let's take the brown and we can unfold that. We're going to pull off 2 pinches, just a little pinch. If you look at it on the ruler, it can kind of fit in that 1-inch section there. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold just one end down and to make a nice little fold line. And figure out again where your head and the bottom are, top and the bottom. And I'm going to place that fold over the white about midway through. And then I'm going to take my 40 and I'm just going to make a little, almost like a rainbow shape again on the white. Pretty generous size. It's probably about maybe 3/4 of an inch. Okay, this is going to be the wing. So now on the top, I'm going to just fold it down. And I'm going to bring it towards the back. So I'm folded it under and I'm bringing it towards the back. Now when you get to the bottom, it's going to come to a point. So fold the top and the bottom under, like kind of into a point. If you have anything super extra long, just pull that off. And then felt that into a point. You don't want it to go all the way to the back, just because they have to stop somewhere. Normally just wrapped around the side. Just want to just straighten out that edge a little. So I'm going to turn the owl around and felt into the wing. And there you have a wing. So we're just going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So make sure it's lined up and over the white. All right, so this is what it looks like with the wings when the wings are done. And this is the top, this is the bottom. And we are going to take just a little bit more of the tan, just a tiny little bit. It's probably even too much. Just pull a little tiny bit of that tan, kind of roll it up into a little cylinder. And I'm going to lay it right across the top here. And with my 40, tack it to the, like have the two touch. So have this tan touch the top of that tan. All the way over to the wings. So from the top of the brown wing to the top of the other wing. And right now I'm just doing the line on the white, nothing else. So I'm just sort of creating a little bit, like extending it a little bit. And then I'm gonna do the same thing that we did with the penguin. And we're gonna bring down a little widow's peak right here. Okay, so all this extra can just kind of fill in anything that might be white there on that widow's peak. So we laid it across the top, felted a line there just to extend it out a little bit, and then we brought some down and we made like a little peak there. And then I'm just gonna take all the fuzzies and just fill that all in. All right, so once you get that, kind of go around the outside edge of the wings and felt those in towards the body. Just trimming it up a little bit, making it neat. Same thing here. Now I'm going at like a 45-degree angle, or if it's flat, I'm going straight down on it. So if it were like this, it would be 45 degrees. Or you can turn it on its back and go straight down, if that's easier for you. Let's make sure that's all flat and even. All right. So next is going to be the yellow. I'm going to keep all my colors together. We're going to open up this beautiful yellow. And I'm going to pull off a pinch. And again, break that in half. Okay, so I'm just going to roll this into like a little ball, but not a tiny ball, just kind of a flattish ball. That is about the tip of my pinky in size. And I'm going to lay it right here in that, under that circle of the widow's peak. So I still want to see white, and I'm going to lay it right there. Now, it might not be a perfect circle. Don't worry about that. We're just going to start at the top, and we're going to take our 40, which is the green, and we're just going to start creating a circle with this outer edge of your wool. So I'm just forming it into a circle. So as I let go, you see how there's just a whole bunch there, right? That's okay. You're just going to take the tip of your needle, and you're just going to kind of pull it and keep going around like we did earlier, where you're kind of dragging that wool, and you're just going to keep shaping it into a circle. So you never want to go outside of that circle line. You want to stay either in the center or on that outside line that you can see in your mind's eye. Like you can see the circle, and you're just going to stay within that circle. I would say this is probably 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch circle. Let me see. A little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. It's very freestyle. So I'm just going to felt this whole piece down. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with the other one. Kind of a flat. We're not really rolling a ball. We're just making more of a flat circle with the wool. And again, we're going to set it right up underneath the white and just start creating the circle. Kind of want to peek over and just see if it's even with the other one, which I believe this one is so far anyway. So this one, I feel like I didn't have as much, so I'm just going to take another little tiny pinch. Just want them to be even. It's going to make it look a lot better in the end. And I'm going to add some to the top. If yours were really even, you don't have to do this. Still a little bit big, a little bit more. And try to take a stronger needle and sort of tack that in a little. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna do the feet and the beak, and you have a choice. You can either use the yellow to do the feet and the beak, or you can go and do one of those in orange. I'm actually gonna go ahead and use the yellow. And for the feet, I'll do that first. I'm just gonna kind of do what we did before, just make like a little triangle, excuse me, a little rectangle. And I'm just gonna take my 38 and I'm just gonna start felting that down. It's easier on this pad to felt at an angle, just because of the density of the pad. It's very spongy. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that up and just rub it between my hands. And we're just trying to, again, make a little sheet of fabric. As you get better and you want to invest in different tools and that kind of thing, if you end up with a thicker mat and, like, let's say a multi-tool, you can do this. This will be a little bit faster for you on that, but very doable on this mat, as you can see. There we go. And I'm just going to turn it over one more time and do the bottom. So right now, I just realized I'm using my 40 at this moment. That's fine. A 40 is fine for this, or 38 will make it probably go a little faster. So when you get to this part here, you're going to want to dip it in just like we did on the other one. And then that's really good. So we're gonna just go one more time in between my thumb and my forefinger, just to felt it a little bit more. And if you want, you can take your scissors and just kind of trim it up right around the edge. And then we'll take our owl and let's go ahead and attach this. With the 38, and it's going to go right across the bottom on the tan. So you don't want to get it on the wing. You want to just go right across on the tan, right up to the wing. So that wing really spans across, like from the top down to the bottom. If you have anything that's sort of trailing into the tan, you can take some tan like we did on the penguin and cover that. Okay, so let me turn it this way and get my 38, and I'm just going to go, oh, he's on his back. I'm just going to get in the center here and go down just to separate those two little feetsies. Now I'm going from the center of the foot through it into the owl. Just make sure it's really secure. Okay, so for the beak, so now we can take some black, just a little pinch, and again break that in half. I just almost always do that. Take a pinch and break it. And I'm going to roll another little flat circle, only this time it's much smaller. And I'm going to bunch it up and I'm going to hold it on here. Take my 40 again, and just like we did on the other one, where we're right here, where we're keeping the white there, now we're going to keep the yellow there. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to form a circle inside this yellow. I'm just going to keep going around in a circle, like I'm going to turn it going around and just keep forming this circle. Just keep making sure that with there's a little bit of white there, or vegetable matter. So I don't want to go outside of the circle that I see in my mind's eye. I see it where it needs to be. You know, it's inside. There has to be yellow surrounding this black. So I don't want to go outside of that. I'm just going to stab that all the way down around that entire eye. And then you can kind of go around it from the outside in at a 45-degree angle again. So this way. Just to get the fuzzies. Anything that might be flyaway. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. This is a fast, simple little project. Really just meant to help you get your felting skills down, just to get a feel for what felting is. And I will tell you, these little woolies, I make all kinds. So these are just two of the many, many woolies I make. I call them woolies. And I sell them at my trade shows, and they do really, really well. I have another video of I did a moodang, the little baby pygmy hippo, little cute little baby pygmy princess. And you can find her in my playlist. She's cute. But I've also done, not videos here on YouTube, but just to sell in my trade show. I have cats and zebras and peacocks, ducks. I like the birds, I think. I like to do birds. And just all kinds. I mean, what else do I have? Pigs. Those are cute. Okay, so here he is, almost done. The only thing that we need is to get a little bit more white. Tiny, tiny bit. I'm going to put that there. Separate it again. Roll it in a tiny, tiny little ball. This might even be too big. Yeah, I think that's too big. I'm gonna cut that. You'll know if it's too big. Okay, so I'm going to set that on his eye. Now, depending on where you want him looking, is where you would put this. So I kind of like him up, like looking up to the right. But really anything is cute. The main thing with this part is that wherever you put the dot in one eye, you have to do like a mirror image in the other eye, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm using the 40 again for this one. You could also use the 42 for this. Super fine needle. But a 38 would be too hard. It would actually push this white all the way in to the eye, and you wouldn't even see it anymore. So when I say mirror image, so basically it's not like it was looking at itself, but I want this in the same position on this eye. So I have it up in the 1 o'clock position. So I'm going to put it in the 1 o'clock position over here as well. Sometimes to get these in, it's best just to hold your needle still in one spot and just stab. And as you do that, that white will just start going under your needle and going into the right place. Alrighty. With his beak, and I feel like he's missing something up here, and this often happens in felting. He was designed after this little guy, and I think the big difference is that his eyes are together and his eyes are not. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to pull the beak off. We're going to do surgery here. Pull that beak off. And I'm going to felt all this down where I pulled it off. We're totally going to fix this. So let me tell you, one of my biggest things that I believe is that everything is fixable in felting. Everything. So sometimes you finish a project just like I did and you ponder it and you're like, well, you know, it's just not sitting right with me. I just don't feel like it's right. And if that happens, you can always go back, and that's what I'm doing here. So I'm actually going to take these off so I can really work with the wool for a second. And I am going to put like another outer circle here of the yellow with my 40 triangle. Just going to make a little bit, make these eyes bigger so that they're touching. And then we'll just go from there. See what kind of vibe we're getting. This is definitely, I do owls all the time for my trade show, but they always do end up a little bit different. And so Ollie definitely needs to have his own special look. So we're going to make sure he gets it. I have a feeling at the end of this, he's going to be adorable. Just like our little penguin, which I'm super happy with. Okay, so this is a nice big owl eye. I like that. Let me take this one. And I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to make them touching. I'm going to start here so that they're touching in the center. And since I'm doing the stabbing again now, I'm going to go ahead and put this back on. Safety first. Okay. I'm just going to go in a complete circle around this eye. Get these, the yellows really, really large. Anything that's covering that black, I'm just going to take it off of there. I do want them to be the same size, so I don't want this to go way, way down. All right, so now I'm going to take this beak. Let me hold it up there and see. It's a little bit better, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of the brown and I'm just going to place it over the beak just to give it a little bit of, I don't know, actually, let me take the brown off. Let's do this with the tan. I'm just going to put it over the beak, and it's just going to give it a little bit more of a depth instead of it just being the same exact color as the eyes. And now I'm going to put this right up between the eyes. Let me hold that and get this in. Just going to tack it in the center here. Okay, so now I can let go. Oh, I was a little off. It's hard to see with these gloves sometimes, so. Okay, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to sort of, I think before it was too long, so I'm going to pop it up a little bit from the bottom. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Make the triangle on the bottom. And the triangle on the top. And then go down. Gives it a little bit of depth with the color. Let's see. It's going to get a little bit more. Just, I don't know, I'm not liking the yellow on his beak. I feel like on my other owls, it was a different yellow. This is a new yellow to me, and it's great everywhere else, just not on the beak. So this is what you do. When you're felting and you have an issue, you just fix it. You just look at it and see what you think it needs, and you just keep changing or adding until it looks right, until it looks good to you. So this is a great example. I went upstairs and sat down and looked at this owl, and I'm like, I'm not really happy with it. And this is going to be my very first kit, and it needs to be amazing. So we're going to make it amazing. Okay, I'm liking that much more. Just sort of gives it a little bit of a difference there, and it also looks like has a highlight on it. So when you do yours, you could even just do it in the tan, and then maybe put a little bit of yellow highlight, or just do it in yellow like I did and go over it in tan and leave a little bit peeking through. I like that a lot more. And the eyes coming together is really important. I had them way too separated on the last one. It's much better. And I think I'm going to go ahead and give him 2 little tuft ears. just rolling that in a cylinder and folding it over. I'll show you again on the other one. And I'm just going to pop it right above that wing. I'm using the wrong finger there. Right above that wing, and I'm just going to felt it in. Sort of fold it over. Let's try that on this one. So I just did a cylinder. A little cylinder. And then folded it over. Popped it down. I want it to go that direction, so I'm going to put the top of it that direction. And then I'm using my 40. And then I'm just going to stick it in here. Just going around the base. This is just going to give him that little tuft, that little ear look that a lot of owls have. Not all of them, but a lot of them have that, and I think he just needs it. There. They're very roly-poly. Much better. Look at, you're so cute. You know, if we wanted to, we could even give them little mouths. If we wanted to. You could even take your brown and outline the eyes, or the black and outline the eyes if you wanted to. But I feel like he looks much better. So much better. I'm happier with this. I feel like it looks better, it looks more whole. This is how Ollie should look. So there you go, the finished Ollie and the finished Peter. They are covered in wool. Finished Ollie and the finished Peter. There we go. And now look at all of this extra wool that you have. You have all this extra wool and even some more core wool, so that you can make more things. You can make, you know, pretty much anything. Leave it up to your imagination. You could do a dog out of this. You could do a rubber duck out of this, a zebra, so many different things. Or you can just make more of these. So this is the core wool that you have left. You definitely can either make two more small ones, or one big one. Yeah, that's definitely enough for you to do two more small ones. So you're going to have enough to play around, basically. Let me just put it that way. And I hope that you've really enjoyed this. Again, if you haven't already purchased the kit, you're going to want to go to www.morefunwithfelt.com. The category, or the collection rather, is going to be kits, and go there, and then you can purchase the kit there. This is Ollie the Owl and Peter the Penguin. Everything that you see here comes in the kit except for the ruler and the scissors. So you get 4 needles, you get 2 finger guards, 6 different colors of carded wool, you get your mat, and core wool. So that's quite a bit. It makes 2 woolies. I sell the woolies generally separately for $10 a piece. So yeah, so it's a really good value. And then again, as you see, you can make so much more. It's not just going to be these 2 little woolies. You probably could pop out at least 5 or 6 more things out of this, depending on, you know, if you keep them all around the same size, or one really big thing. So reach out to me. Let me know what you think. Please leave comments below. Tell me what else you would like to see. Maybe if you are interested in another kit, what you would like to purchase. I can, you know, look into that for you. And then make sure that you like and subscribe if you are interested in beginner videos, because I have a whole series of beginner videos that I'm working on right now. So I hope you really, really enjoyed this. Sorry if the black was hard to see. I'll try to see if I can adjust the lighting and what have you during the editing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.